faces in the participants list, so welcome everybody. So good afternoon. Look, I'm Alex Colton. I work for Cornerstone On Demand, so we're a proud sponsor of the PPMA, but we also sponsored this particular award, our awards at the PPMA Awards back in May in Birmingham. So this was about the best creative concept recruitment campaign. So I just want to welcome you to today's webinar, where we have Greater Manchester Combined Authority join us to share what their project was. And joining us today from the authority is Anna Foster-Wessel, who is Strategic People Business Partner, and Jane Jeffrey, who is Firefighter Attraction Lead. So Anna, Jane, I'm just going to hand straight over to you to get into the subject.
Great, thanks so much, Alex. I'm going to share my screen, or attempt to, so hopefully that works, and then I'll pass the first test, and we'll get talking. So can you see, everybody, a PowerPoint presentation? Yeah, excellent. Okay.
Yeah, we can see that, Anna.
Perfect. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us. My name's Anna Foster-Wessel. Alex has just introduced. I'm the Strategic People Business Partner for the Combined Authority in Greater Manchester, and I'm also the Senior Talent and Resourcing Manager as well. So I manage the recruitment teams across the CA, which includes firefighter recruitment and the attraction. Jane, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name's Jane Jeffrey. As Anna's just said there, the Firefighter Attraction Lead. Been with Greater Manchester Fire now for I'm in my 22nd year now. I was an operational firefighter for 19 years of that, and came across to join Anna's team, or the attraction side of the team, around about 3 years ago. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Jane. So we're here today to talk to you about our firefighter recruitment attraction strategy, which ran between 2019 and 2022. So that's what we submitted, obviously ourselves up for that award for back at the start of the year. So just to give a bit of an overview of what we're going to cover today. So we'll go over really the strategy, why we needed one in the first place, where we were coming from in terms of our plans. And then Jane will bring that strategy to life by talking through key activity that we delivered during the period, and some curveballs in there, things like national or international pandemics that happened, which really tested us to our limits. But hopefully you'll then see the fruits of our labour. So we'll have a slide at the end to talk about our outcomes and also our plans to move us forwards, because we've now moved into our next strategy that we're working towards at the moment. So just a bit about Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service, first of all, for those of you that aren't familiar with the organisation. So we were established in 1974, celebrating our 50th year this year, and we 2P transferred into the Greater Manchester Combined Authority in 2017, along with many other organisations. So we are officially part of the CA and the workforce of the Combined Authority. We've got 41 fire stations, and we serve around 2.87 million residents across Greater Manchester, which makes us one of the largest fire and rescue services in the UK. And total kind of workforce operational staff, which is what this strategy is focused on, is around 1,420 at the last count. So quite a large organisation, lots of complexities within that as well. We've done really well over the past few years, and most recently we've been rated the Emergency Service of the Year by Fire Magazine in 2023. We've also been recognised by the National Inspection Inspector at HMIC FRS as one of the best performing fire and rescue services in the UK. And we're very proud, recently announced Stonewall Top 100. We've moved up places again to the rank of 34, which is great. And we are an apprenticeship provider, so Ofsted have also rated us as good. So I like to think some evidence base there to say that we're a very high performing organisation, and things like this attraction strategy helps us to move us in the right direction. So why an attraction strategy in the first place? So bottom line really is that Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service as an organisation is not representative of the communities that we serve. That's not just a Greater Manchester issue, it's a UK-wide, in fact, international challenge across fire and rescue services, particularly in the UK. You may have seen recent reports and even reports dating back 10, 20 years that do criticise fire and rescue services for not being representative, and the requirement to do more around that. Of course, alongside that, for us, 2019 presented a unique opportunity really, because we actually had an accelerated recruitment process and period where we had to recruit for 250 new firefighters between 2019 and 2022. So quite a unique opportunity there to do something on scale. And again, some figures there on the left-hand side in the graph, just in terms of our representation. So as of 2020, this was May, we had 6% of our workforce, our firefighting workforce, were female, 5.10 racially diverse, and 2% LGBTQI plus. So really not representative. And we're on a journey, you know, and we'll kind of come to the end of the slides and you'll see where we're at now. But we are on a journey, and it is taking time to get there. So it's not kind of I suppose, a start and finish. We didn't finish our strategy in 2022. We've moved on to the next strategy, and we're continuing to improve along the way. So the strategy that we're talking about today ran between 2019 and 2022. And I do need to put in there, it was during COVID, and that really did test us. Our aim overall was to attract and retain a talented and diverse frontline firefighter workforce, one that represents Greater Manchester communities that we serve, and specifically to achieve that through positive action and applying positive action to the way that we do that. We aligned to strategic ambitions, national picture. The reason why it was a 3-year strategy was because that aligned to our EDI strategy, which was mainly internally focused with some external, but predominantly to say, actually, let's improve the culture of the organisation. Let's become more inclusive as an employer. Of course, it's really important for us to attract and recruit diverse candidates into the organisation. But if the organisation's not fit for purpose, then we're going to lose people, you know, as they come in. So it's really important for us to tie those two together. And alongside that, the Greater Manchester strategy as well ran during the period. So real alignment, not just to locally Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service, but also to the Greater Manchester bigger picture. And we had 4 key areas of focus really within that. So tool enhancement, self-sustaining model, to add social value, and also to look at how we can fully utilise partnerships and pathways as well into employment, which are 4 key areas that Jane will cover shortly. I think one extra thing just to mention here is that this wasn't our first strategy. So we actually had a past strategy that ran 2016 to 2019, and a lot of our current strategy built on from those successes, and in particular the Taste Today model, which Jane will talk about, but that was already in place before we started this strategy. Over to Jane.
Thanks, Anna. So yeah, as Anna's just mentioned there, the 4 key areas that we were focusing on, one of them being around the brand. So what we did know is we needed to change the imagery that we were seeing, not just externally, but internally as well. So with all of our imagery that goes across all of our sites and all of the socials, we're making sure we're representing our diverse workforce within that. Trying to then capture people when we're out in the community, the use of our QR code. So we had a QR code then that would then take people directly to our expression of interest. So once we had that contact, we then had a team that could then directly make contact straight away, particularly with our underrepresented groups, to engage with them and help them through the process should they need it. The lockdown actually did support us with this, because it did get us to start to do a lot more online. So through lockdown, then we realized it was a really good way to capture people and to actually engage with them, that we didn't actually need to just be out in the community. Once we've got that expression of interest, let's make contact with them and start to engage with them online. And we developed then an online information sessions, which we're working on improving on year, to the point where really high levels of engagement there on a monthly basis of around about 90 to 100 people we see engaging with us on a monthly basis now. What we've also done from the brand and tool development is those fitness packs. So you can go online now. We recognise that, again, some of the barriers, particularly with our underrepresented groups, are even just the fitness. So someone may have a good level of fitness, but not aware of the fitness requirements to become a firefighter, or how they would improve on that. So we supplied them with fitness packs. Go online, click on there, and they can look at what they would need to be doing. Again, we've improved on that further now that we're offering fitness sessions through our firefighters that are PTIs, but in that initial instance, 2022 onwards, was just to get that fitness advice out there, and that support has now carried on. I think that's it on there. Thanks, Anna. So within the community itself, what was really important, and it's a line that we use quite a lot of now, is the see it to be it, and we have that then through our attraction team, which are lovely photo of the team just there, and the team are out in the communities, working in many different engaging in very many different types of events. So from gyms, from women's sports clubs, to open days, to careers events. We are attracting in as many different places as we can, and it really is just inspiring through that see it to be it. When then we're inviting people in, we're inviting them into a taster day, and I think I need to touch on that a little bit more in the next one, but it's bringing them into then our fire stations, and we know that there are some barriers for our community to come across into a fire station. So what we do is, with our taster days, is we are making sure we bring them into their local fire station, meet the firefighters, and we are there as that first port of call of that contact from the attraction team. With other things there, we are doing we're reaching out now to all of the public services courses that are running right across all of the colleges as well. So really, it's inspiring at that real grassroots stage, where what we recognised was that a lot of our other uniformed services and the Ministry of Defence are there, and we weren't there. So if we were not there, we're not going to be seen. But so we're making sure now we're actually in those spaces as well. I think I've covered everything. Was there anything else on there, Anna? No, I think we're then looking from our taster days. We did a little video to inspire people to come along, and if you want to press play, thanks.
Hopefully
Anna.
The sound will work. Let me know if it does.
Yeah, it's myself again. Sorry.
Today is an opportunity to look at various elements of the role of firefighter. Assessment.
Thanks, Anna. I think we lost a little bit of the sound on that. I know I did anyway. I'm not sure whether anyone else did. But hopefully visually you can see, if you weren't able to, what we were trying to do is just let people know that it's a real relaxed day to come in, have a taster of some of the physical elements of the role of a firefighter, and be able to engage with your local firefighters. Makes people feel a lot more relaxed and open to ask those questions that really they may not have wanted to do otherwise. So it's just a relaxed day, which brings people in local fire station. Sorry, so moving on now, thanks Anna, to building up then from that strategy. We were looking at ways we can work with our covenant partners. So being ex-military myself, I picked up on the Armed Forces Covenant. So in 2019, we applied for to the Defence Employee Recognition Scheme for the Bronze Award. And this was for the engagement that we had through recruitment of veterans into service. moving very swiftly, and it was a real quick journey. We then went on to achieve the Silver Award, and that was through establishing a Armed Forces network, which myself co-chair of that. We've now got a network of over 140 members, and they are either reservists, so currently serving reservists, or veterans that have come from the military into GMFRS. This led us then to, in 2022, achieving the Gold Award for the what we've established for our reservists, but also that, like I say, that continued work of employment of those military serving personnel into our workforce. And I think there's some figures just on there to show that we did engage with over 800 Armed Forces personnel. Again, we did this as a learning on the back of that COVID, where we knew we could engage better online. Particularly then, we recognised with our armed forces that could be stationed all over the world, we could run an online taste today, get them to come along, get them to ask all those questions, and offer them the support that they need then to come from the military into our recruitment process. We did this in various ways. Again, because we knew of the difficulty of maybe not being in the country, we were able to put applications on hold at any stage so they could rejoin it or rejoin and have their assessments in a different location to actually accommodate them whilst they were coming out of service and then gaining employment with us. 50% of our May 22 course was actual veterans, so really good, and we've continued to see a lot of them on our up-to-date courses as well. Thanks, Anna. So another connection that we made through the strategy was through the growth company. Really successful. What we've done on our taster days is those first 6 months of taster days, when we were inviting people into the fire stations, we actually had a representative from the growth company come along too. So they would be there to ask questions around functional skills, what levels they're at and what they would need to do. And we really was pushing for anyone that wants to come into the recruitment process to pick up and take on the opportunity to do their maths and English with the growth company ahead of even starting their apprenticeship. Just one less thing to concentrate then on once they're in their apprenticeship. So we had really good sign up for those courses, and that continues to happen. And that's an online course that the growth company run for us. And it's every week that the candidates go on, and it's 2 hours a week with additional support with the face-to-face sessions as well. The Fire Up Your Future course that we ran, we did 2 of these online, and this is an employability course which really was focused around what we do within our recruitment process, but obviously other elements for people to take away should they not be successful with ourselves. And we continued then to or should I say, what we then went on to was offer it for our NEET candidates as a condensed course. So the growth company ran a 2-week course over at one of our fire stations, and it was face-to-face. Them those employability courses and then get them set up ready for the maths and English as well. So really successful with the growth company, as you can see just from the results at the bottom there. We've had a lot more numbers coming through recently, but that was when we first set up the 22-23 course that we was running then, our campaign we were running just then. Thanks, Anna. Blue light partners. So another part of the strategy was looking at how we can work better with our blue light partners. Again, noticing barriers, looking for barriers. We recognise with our uniformed services some barriers that we would see from the LGBT community. So we actually set up a day over, it was on Ida Hobbit Day back in May 23, where we invited all of the uniformed services that could attend on the day. And we had a really good response from GMP, NWAS, Prison Service, RAF, the Navy actually didn't make it, the Army, they came along too. Really, really good response. Great then to what we could put out on socials was fantastic, and we had a lot of engagement through our socials, and we actually saw that transfer then into our expression of interest of the LGBTQ plus was definitely an increase on our attraction from our attraction work into our expression of interest. Thanks on that one, Anna. I think we're there.
Over to me, I think, Jane.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jane. And I think the kind of final piece now on what we've done in practice, but one big thing for us wasn't just about how we use positive action to, of course, attract candidates in, but it was also about reviewing our recruitment processes to make sure they were as inclusive as possible. And we made the move in 2019 to move to more behaviour-based and values-based testing, and applied that throughout the process. So basically replacing the shortlist with a behaviour-based test, which is online using gamification through a third-party organisation. For that work, we were shortlisted for Best Candidate Experience in 2022 for the in-house Recruiter Awards. So something we're really proud of, and we've continued that work, and we're still doing it to this day, utilising gamification for candidates. And we find that it's a better experience for candidates because they feel like they're not necessarily doing a test, but also are getting a more authentic result from them, because what they're doing is playing a game. They get immersed in that game, rather than feeling like they have to be forced to answer the right question. We've also found that's had a positive impact on our underrepresented groups that are coming through the process as well, which is good, something that we constantly monitor and evaluate. In addition to that, we also now do values-based assessments as part of our final stage. So all designed around the values of the organisation, what really drives people, why do you want to work for us, why is Greater Manchester important to you? And we give candidates one pre-prepared question that they come along with, so it gives the people that kind of opportunity to, again, bring their best self to that interview. In addition, we make sure that candidates have all questions printed out in front of them in each interview panel. And one style that we've used now for many years is, we call it a pod approach, but it's because we have pods of interviews, but it's a little bit like speed dating. It's probably the best way I can describe it. But it's where a candidate will go in and the same panel will ask one question all day. So the candidate rotates around the panels rather than the panel being a consistent and having different candidates. So it works very well because it means that we get the best from the panel because there's more consistency, there's less bias in that process as well, and also the candidates get a fresh start every time they move. So you kind of come out, have 2 minutes, settle in back time, and then go into the next panel to give their very best again. So we found kind of overall that works very well. We've had very good kind of experience with that. Lastly, we involve the workforce at all levels within that assessment process. So, of course, firefighter recruitment involves practical tests as well as interviews and as you've seen, behaviour-based tests online. But we have firefighters helping us to assess that have been trained in assessment techniques, as well as very senior leaders. So everybody gets involved, and we find a lot more buy-in within the process as well internally. So to finish it off, really, outcomes. So we achieved what we wanted to achieve. We've seen a consistent increase in workforce diversity. It is slow. In March 2019, we're at 5.5% females, for example. We're at 8.6% now. So really happy with that achievement, especially given that COVID-19 and everything else happened in between. But we are on a journey, and that's something that our next strategy looks to help us with as well. We've improved our candidate experience. We know we've had a very high quality of hire because our firefighters apprenticeships have actually got one of the highest apprenticeship achievement rates in the UK at 98.5%. And also the bottom graph there shows you in 2019 how many candidates we're attracting through to our expression of interest database within that year versus 2023, so the end of that strategy, and we've seen an increase year on year since then. Again, talking to you now about what we did over that 3-year period, but we know that it's increased since then as well. So what's next? We are in our next strategy at the moment, so it's building again on those successes that we've seen. Our strategy also focuses on promotions now internally. So how do we apply positive action internally and help people to see themselves ready for a leadership role? And we also have applied greater kind of focus on that candidate engagement. So how do we apply the fitness support for candidates? How do we, utilise online and hybrid events for candidate engagement on a monthly basis, like Jane has said before? And this year we're also looking at how can we do more to grow our social media presence, and in particular using social media to target underrepresented groups as well. So we've whizzed through that. I think we're on time. Keep looking up at the clock. Any questions? Over to you. I try and stop sharing. Questions in the chat? I can't see any. Does that mean we've bored you all, or or wowed you all? You're on mute, Alex.
It's been 4 years since this has happened. You know what I mean? I should find the mute button by now. Look, just wanting to say on behalf of everyone, thank you for sharing your story. It was such a great thing to see, particularly the shift in the outcomes and the diversity and how you tackled taking that unbiased out of the process. That was absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much on behalf of the PPMA for sharing it. I don't think there's any follow-up question. Oh, there is a couple of questions in the chat, Anna. Do you want to just spend a minute on those?
Yeah, of course. So I think Georgina asked, did you have a specific team to do all of this, or was it added on top of business as usual? So there is a specific attraction team that was commissioned in 2019 and established again in 2019. And that is a team of 4 permanent employees. And what we do is rely on the rest of the workforce to help us on top of their business as usual. So the taster days and things. Jane might be able to elaborate a bit further, but we basically ask the crews to help us, so they switch off their response for the day, and instead their day job that day is to deliver a taster day with us. I don't know if you want to elaborate further on that, Jane.
No, you've covered it really there. It's the team itself will facilitate, but supported by the crews. It just, again, it's breaking down those barriers, and I think it's really important to be able to have that face-to-face with actual crews that you potentially are going to work with in the future as well. So yeah, it's like the size of the team, Rebecca's just asking there. So as Anna's just said, it's myself as the attraction lead. There are 2 firefighters seconded into the team, and there is a coordinator with the team as well. Thanks, Rebecca.
Quite a small team, given the scale that we deliver on. And I think somebody else has asked if we're looking at increasing social media presence in the future, LinkedIn, Indeed. So LinkedIn and Indeed, we do more so on the CA side of it for our corporate roles, less so for our operational roles, because not necessarily everybody that we want to attract might be on LinkedIn, for example, but we are exploring CV databases to help us to do a bit of CV mining in the future. So that's part of our plan for this year, as well as commissioning a third party to help us do some more targeted work on kind of social media, like TikTok and Instagram, for example.
Do you want to pick up that last one, Anna,
Yeah.
and then we'll close it down?
Yeah, from us, so we're looking at moving to values-based model. Also, do you have any stats that you're able to share on improvements you've noticed with the move to values-based models? We've got candidate feedback that we can share with you, Muz, in terms of satisfaction rates. We can certainly share some further information with you. If it's all right, I can share it after with the presentation. I don't know if that's the plan to share the presentation slides, but I can.
Cool. Thank you all, and I think Alison has summarised it up in the chat. Wowed. that was my summary. So thank you, Jane and Anna, and thank you for all our participants today. But we'll end it there. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.